Speaking of Ed Burgart, he joins us now from Los Alamitos. Ed, good morning. Happy Father's Day, and how are things?
Things are great this morning, and good morning to you, Scott, and Kurt also. I know Kurt always looks forward to these major races down at Los Alamitos, and tonight's race is going to be one of our best ones of the year.
Yeah, and Ed, before we touch on tonight's race, I got up at the crack of dawn and did some homework this morning because I have some fond memories of the Ed Burke Futurity. How's this for some past winners? Go Man Go, Bar, Town Policy, the famous horse who was kidnapped and taken to Mexico. That was back in 1977. A horse I really liked, Florentine. Corona Chick, who was an absolute rocket ship. In more recent years, Asai, Hawkish, and Foose. But Ed, I was telling Scott, kind of a who's who of quarter horses, especially in the old days with the Town Policies and the Go Man Goes and the Bars, who all have races named for them now at Los Alamitos.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking back at the history of the Ed Burke Million Futurity and noticed that Bar back in 1968 won this race in 1752. That time stood up until 1988. That's how good he was when Liberty Coin won 1744. So Bar certainly was one of the brilliant horses that's ever run at Los Alamitos. You mentioned Corona Chick, who won this race in 1991. The horse that runs tonight, she's not the same color as Corona Chick, but Walk Through Crystal. A lot of resemblances in the racing styles, and I think she's strictly the horse to beat.
How far ahead of the curve is she in this two-year-old division right now?
Well, she's had 4 starts. I think the main concern now is, whether 5 starts is going to catch up with her this quick. But she's got the edge, in my opinion. Fillies seem to be a little bit smarter earlier in their 2-year-old campaigns than the Colts and Geldings. They have their minds on business. What I like about Walk Through Crystal, she's so quick out of the gate, and she finishes just as strong as she starts. And that's always a big plus in these quarter horse races. She's made no mistakes in 4 starts. And what impressed me about her trial win, some people are going to say, well, she only won 1770. But you have to remember, we started at 520 with 13 trials on a Sunday. And out of the last 7 trials, only 2 horses qualified. Tuffy on trial number 9 and Walk Through Crystal out of trial number 11. And Walk Through Crystal would have easily had the fastest qualifying time, in my opinion, had she competed in one of the first 4 or 5 trials.
One thing's for sure, I'm looking at the video we're watching right now, she is one good-looking filly by Walk Through Friarbred in California. And I did some of my homework this morning, but not all of it. I'm relying on you for the rest of it. The video work, Sail Topper, looks like a trouble trip for Doc Allred, Scott Willoughby trainee. How much trouble, and can Sail Topper move forward and beat these other horses tonight?
Well, he's definitely the horse that has the most upside, in my opinion. He could easily win this race. The biggest concern, of course, as soon as that race was over last time out when I talked to Scott Willoughby, he believes the horse had his foot stepped on soon after the start, came back with a little bit of a cut on top, but he said the horse is trained super out of that. It was a superficial injury, and the horse is doing well. The horse is so quick the first time this horse ran. Of course, Carlos Huerta opted for Doc's Best Card over Sail Topper, so that tells you that Carlos likes both horses, but I guess he thinks Doc's Best Card's a little bit better. So I don't know if Sail Topper's quite up to beating Walk Through Crystal or We Like Corona. He's going to have to break better here in the finals.
Well, you mentioned Doc's Best Card. He, too, has 4 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds. He was second in the Kindergarten Futurity, just a half a length behind Walk Through Crystal. How can he close that gap now from the 300-yard Kindergarten now to the 350-yard Ed Burke?
Well, going into the finals of the Kindergarten, when Carlos Huerta took off at Doc's Best Card to ride the horse that finished 3rd, Carnegie Hall, Carlos's opinion at that point was that Carnegie Hall was a faster horse for 300 yards, but when the distances get longer, Doc's Best Card would be a better horse than Carnegie Hall, if that helps you as far as the distance goes. My only concern, I watched the tape several times in the Kindergarten. Walk Through Crystal was under a hand ride, and when they crossed the wire, she galloped out about a length and a half in front of Doc's Best Card. So people that think Walk Through Crystal doesn't want to run this far, I think they're going to be very surprised because she has a good finish as well.
Ed, one of the best quarter horse riders in the country, is not often on 20-to-1 shots in big races. G.R. Carter rides through the night, one of 3 Jaime Gomez entrants. On paper, looks in tough. G.R. Carter gets on board. Any long shot look from the rail for through the night?
Not really. I mean, I'd like to say because G.R. Carter's aboard, but this horse is just not that quick out of the gates. It tries to lug inward. Sometimes that's a good thing if you're on the rail because you don't have to correct him. You can just let him run towards the rail and hope that the horse can correct itself by straightening out. But I just don't think he's got the speed to be able to stay with these horses. If it wasn't for G.R. Carter being aboard, I made G.R. 30-1 one time, Kurt. He did not like it. He said, I've never ridden a 30-1 shot in my life. So I was kind and made him 20-1 if that helps you.
G.R. and his agent badgered you after that, right, Ed?
He was laughing about it, but he actually called me up in the announcer's booth and said, 30-1.
Well,
So
just
he's only 20 to 1 tonight. How's that?
ignore all phone calls tonight, Ed. Just that's a bit of advice from me. What about We Like Corona? You put this colt at 3 to 1 on the morning line. Does he have enough experience to step up against the likes of Walk Through Crystal?
You know, he might. I mean, this horse really impressed me with the acceleration he showed. I was going to make him my top selection until I watched the videotape again. And I'm not always overly crazy about horses that have to be asked for their best in the trials, which I thought this horse was under a lot of pressure, but he galloped out huge. And I know that Jose Flores is really high. His first win was from the outside post. He's quick and he can finish. So I think that's a big plus. But I'm still giving Walk Through Crystal the advantage in here. She reminds me so much of Corona Chick, just the way this horse runs and mistake-free. And I think what tells you about our trials tonight, I'm looking at all 10 to 9 horses in this race. No horse is under 3 to 1 in the trials. That tells you that the best horses did qualify. And of course, our condolences going out to the Legacy Ranch and Muller Racing, as the other horse that would have been in this race just flying by came up with an infection after the trials and had to be euthanized. And that was quite a setback for those people. They're good people and a big supporter of the industry. So we have a field of 9 horses going.
Yeah, that's the reason for the 9-horse field tonight. Just one more touch on the history of the race, because I love the history of races like this. The 2 all-time leaders in this race, 2 all-time greats. Blaine Schwanevelt, 6-time winner, and one of my favorite riders that when I first started going to Los Alamitos, Kenny Hart, a 6-time winner who had a little tiny role in a great quarter horse movie, Casey's Shadow, years ago.
Yeah, we're going back years now. I was probably in college at that time when they made the movie Casey's Shadow with Danny Cardozo and Kenny Hart and a lot of the familiar names back then. But, you know, this race does have a lot of history. And just even going back in recent years, you know, Jaime Gomez pretty much has been the dominant trainer in this race since then. I think he's won this race 3 times since 2005. I'm looking at the results right now with Higher Fire, Carter's Cartel, who still has the fastest time, and LD Fire. So definitely Jaime Gomez is probably the trainer to watch, and he's got 3 in tonight.
Ed, before we let you go, I'm getting greedy because Scott needs to pay for his Dodger tickets tonight. He's taking a lot of people for Father's Day. Anything else we can bet on tonight's card? You like something early on that may be a price or a single or something you're looking at for tonight's card at Los Al to build our bankroll into the big race?
Well, I love the horse in the 7th called Not Off and the 1 horse. Ran 5th last time out. That's a real strong race. The runner-up, Ivy Storm, came back and almost qualified for the for the Ed Burke Million Futurity, and that would be my probably play of the night. And I think Ivy Storm's the horse to beat in the Ed Burke Juvenile. I know Cruz Mendez took off to ride the other Jose Flores horse, I'm a Fearless Hero, but that might have been due to the connections of I'm a Fearless Hero, who owned He's a Dash of Fire, who won 2 races here last year. But Ivy Storm was in the same trial as Walk Through Crystal, and I really like the way that horse improved. So I'm giving you 2 horses, Kurt.
That's good. Scott, leave money. Not off and 5 to 2, and then we get back your money for the Dodger game tonight.
That'll work. Ed, we appreciate it. We know you've got a busy morning and you're going to be working late into the evening, but these are the types of nights that keep you rolling through a busy day like this when you got $1 million quarter horse racing here on TVG. Ed, we appreciate the time this morning.